Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies, and today we are doing the final episode of Masterchef Junior. We're just little bit late with this because Marco has been working on his movie.
Yeah.
And so,
Season 9. And it's important to say, we liked the first part of this finale. And we were excited about this part. And I would say that overall the finale was pretty damn good. And why is that, Safi? Because everyone there deserved to be there.
yeah.
And therefore, it created an interesting competition. That's how it works. And so this season showcases what they should do every season. They shouldn't pick based on race and gender and sexuality. Sexuality. Right, Safi?
Yeah. Well, of course, these are kids too. But still, there were three contestants, Remy, Michael, and Bryson. And Bryson was from Alabama. Remy was from Florida. And I don't know where Michael's from. I can't remember.
Florida. Remember his
right.
whole meal was about Florida.
Well, off coast. But anyway, they were very, I would say that, and the judges even said this, the competition between the three was like razor thin. I have never seen in any competition from Masterchef anyway, for the adults or the children, I've never seen it be so close, where they just have to pick little pieces of everybody's and who did worse. And nobody absolutely failed at anything. I mean, there wasn't some accident or something got burned or whatever. But we'll go through what they did. But what the episode comprised was the ending of the entrees. So they finished cooking their entrees, and then, of course, the judges tasted them. And then after that, they had to make a dessert. So let's begin there. So, Marco, what do you want to say about the entrees?
Well, it seemed like last episode they were trying to make it seem like Bryson would have a worse time with his meat, and he didn't.
Not at all.
And then also, last week, the way that Remy described her shrimp and grits dish looking, I wasn't a fan of that. I thought it sounded really gross and creepy. But the way that she actually ended up decorating her plate, I thought looked really good and tasty. So,
yeah, that's why I said all three did an excellent job at their presentation and their cooking. There were a few little criticisms, but of course they had to criticize because, I mean, if they found anything wrong, because the competition, the level of expertise was so close between them that they had to look for everything, every detail. So Michael was first, and he had made a halibut, and Chef Ramsay went on and on and on and on and on about how halibut was the hardest fish to cook. I think because it's so thick, and I can't remember what he says usually happens. Maybe it gets overcooked, or maybe it gets undercooked. I don't know. He made halibut with a sauteed purple kale and Thumbelina carrots, which were ginger glazed.
now, Safi, what do you notice about his dish?
I don't know.
It's exactly the same as Remy's appetizer.
Oh, yeah.
You know why? Because Remy did not make an appetizer. She made an entree. She made 2 entrees. And so I thought that was hilarious that, like, after last week with the fucking halibut, you had halibut again. And, like, I bet the judges were a little sick of eating halibut, too. Because, like, I would have been.
I don't care for halibut at all. And so he was trying to show his expertise. He's never cooked halibut before. And so he wanted to show them that he could do it and that it would turn out okay. And it did.
The thing that I liked about Michael's meal was that instead of taking the easy way out and making like Indian food, he chose to make something like closer to Florida with like tropical themes, I guess, and stuff like that. And so I thought that was really cool because like usually, and I know that this might sound a little racist, but usually whenever there's a contestant who's non-white, they don't make dishes that are outside of their culture in the finale. They always are like, this is a tribute to my culture. This is a tribute to my culture. Blah, 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 blah. And Michael, he took risks.
Yes,
and
he
so
did.
I thought he did a great job.
The only criticisms they had about Michael's dish was the carrots were a little undercooked. And when they say a little, I don't know what that means. And then the sauce, which he had made a spicy herb sauce, was a little too acidic. Like I said with the carrots, I don't know what that means. And those were both coming from Chef Ramsay. And I don't remember, everybody else made a comment, but I don't think Tilly did. And I didn't go back and look at it, but I was really shocked because she is one of the judges, and all she has to do is say one thing, and it's almost like they forgot her.
Well,
But
Tilly
I could be forgetting.
She's like a background character. Like, she's like barely even there. There's only one part in the episode where she really stood out, where she looked like she just saw like a dog got raped by a lion or something.
You didn't notice that.
She was like this. She was like, like it was really bizarre.
Yeah, that was weird. I've never seen that before either. A judge looking like the world was going to end, or that they were afraid that the world was going to end or something. I mean, she had a very stricken look on her face.
That was hilarious.
And I'm like, wow, what's wrong? And she didn't say anything either. She was like frozen.
Yeah.
With this look. And
well, of course, Gordon probably tells her not to speak. He's like, what's that saying? Like, speak but don't be heard, or don't be seen, or be seen but don't speak, or something.
No, be seen and not heard, or something.
Yeah.
That's like an old-fashioned thing
well,
with children at the table or something.
Well, that's like her. That's like, it's like Tilly can be seen, but she can't be heard. She can just say really generic things. Like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it was tasty. Right?
I guess. So anyway, next I think was Remy, right?
It doesn't matter,
It
Safi.
doesn't matter. Well, I'll just do Remy because it just brought her up.
Come on, I want to have dinner.
She made shrimp and grits with collard greens. And they went on and on about the sauce having so much flavor. And she made it to a tribute to all the female members of her family, especially her grandma, who's from New Orleans. So that is why her meal had a more southern, like a New Orleans type orientation. And she's the main one who taught Remy how to cook. And so I didn't hear any criticism of hers. They just said the sauce had so much flavor. And I will say, even before we do Bryson, that Remy, all of them, it seemed, thought Remy won the entree round, but Aron liked Michael's the best. So let's get on to Bryson. Of course, you remember Bryson is from a barbecue family, and his father and he, as well, have been in a lot of barbecue competitions. So he's used to competing and used to the pressure and the stress.
And I know what you're saying. Bryson played it safe by cooking steak when he's really good at steak, but no, he blind cooked steak. Not just steak, but Wagyu steak. And I think that was probably the most impressive thing that was done the whole finale. So
in fact, he was criticized.
Yeah.
Because he did not cut it.
Yeah.
To open, to check it, to see, which this just kills me, to see if it was cooked right. You know, the medium rare thing, they go on. And here, this is a kid who's been in multiple competitions with meat. And in fact, the whole season, he's cooked meat and he's never gone wrong. Never. So why, and they just keep going on and on about the meat, and they cut it open, and it's a big dramatic thing, you know, oh my God, it's not going to be right, and then it's always right. And he had a red wine reduction, a squash puree, and I think Tilly said it was cooked perfectly, but it needed more seasoning, and it seemed like the others agreed. So I don't know what that means, because we know about Gordon, and he over-seasons his meat. We've seen it. We've tasted it in his frozen meals. And we've seen him advertise his cookware that he uses, and he uses tons of salt.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah.
You know, this is very...
nitpicky.
It's nitpicky, but they did that because the competition was so close. But it's also, what do you call it when it's your opinion and subjective. It's very subjective, so you really don't know what they mean by that unless you've tasted it yourself. Okay, so anyway, like I said, they all thought that Remy won the round of the entrees, but that Orone thought Michael won. So then they said, now it's really going to come down to the desserts. That is going to decide the outcome of the competition.
Now, before we get to that, which entree would Safi want to eat the most? Because I thought that was the toughest question to ask, because Bryson's entree didn't have any sides, right?
It had...
Wasn't it just a steak and sauces?
Squash puree.
Oh, well, that's not a side. So, so that's sad, because, I thought the steak looked the most delicious out of all three things. And then Remy, she had shrimp and grits. I couldn't really see the grits very much, but I guess out of the three entrees, I would have preferred to eat Remy's. I definitely would not want halibut. Sorry. Safi, what about you?
I guess you're right. I like grits. They can be really good. I don't care for collard greens. Shrimp is like a hit and miss for me as far as getting sick from it. So it's hard to say. I actually would like the filet mignon. I hate halibut. So I would, no offense to Michael. I know he cooked it really well. They were all impressed. But I don't care for it. Just don't care.
I think he could have gone farther with the entree, though. He should have gone farther with the entree and then pulled back with the dessert, because it seemed like the dessert was the riskiest thing he did, and it did not pay off.
No, it didn't.
In fact, it was wow, that's terrible. I thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I thought Remy was going to win, because Safi, before I even watched the episode, she had a disappointed tone in her voice as she said, Marco, it was very close.
It was close.
And it was a hint of disappointment, uh-oh, maybe Remy wins.
Okay, well, let's get to the desserts. Let's see. Marco, would you please stop it?
Stop what? Just
Anyway,
go through
Remy
the desserts.
Made a brownie mousse, and with hazelnut brittle and strawberries. And of course, who doesn't like chocolate and a raspberry coulis? And they all really like that. I don't know what the problem is, why that wasn't a more positive thing.
Remy's dish?
Yeah, her dessert.
Because the ganache or the mousse tasted like a ganache or a fudge or something.
Oh,
And if you guys don't know, mousse is supposed to be really light and fluffy, like a cream of whip, basically. I mean, Buddy from Cake Boss, he has like a mousse recipe in his cookbook. It seems like a very simple and almost like whipped cream but chocolate kind of thing. Not like a fudge, thick, rich thing.
That
and
must be it, then.
Yeah.
Michael, well, I'll go on to Bryson next. I'll just say Bryson kind of made an elaborate peanut butter cup. And that's the way they described it. They called it peanut butter ganache. The criticism of it, that the ganache was a little too thin. Like I said, I don't know what that means. And he used gold leaf as like a decorative thing. I don't know. And he used it by putting it, if you know what that is, I mean, it's little, I don't get it, but they put little pieces of gold there, and he used tweezers. So he was being very professional and adult, and didn't just slop it on there. He was very exacting and careful. And they all loved him. I mean, who doesn't like peanut butter cups, And so basically it was an elaborate peanut butter cup. That's their words, not mine. And then Michael, he had a problem. He made an orange pound cake, which I was like, when I heard that he was going to do that, I was a little bit, because cake is tricky. It can take a while. But it can easily overcook. It can easily undercook. I mean, I've had my own negative experiences with making cake.
Yeah.
And you really have to have a lot of experience.
Well, and then also we had the experience where we made that really good pistachio cake, and then the refrigerator had all this leaking, and so water got into it and ruined it. So like.
That's a shame.
Even though we made like a perfect cake, boom, it gets ruined in the crappy old refrigerator that needed to be replaced.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty funny.
That was one of the negative things about our old house, was the refrigerator, which really had nothing to do with the house itself.
Yeah.
It was just a crappy refrigerator. He also made an ice cream and a sauce. But the problem is, he took the cakes out. Now, I'm not talking about a big 9-inch cake. I'm talking about little, when you have these little mini pizzas, like these little mini cakes. Not cupcakes, but like a little bit bigger than cupcakes. Probably should have been cupcakes. Maybe it would have worked out, but they weren't done. So he had to put, and that's when Tilly, when he was I think this is when she gave her stricken face, looking over at him, and they were talking about the cake.
It's when he was taking out the cake from the oven, and she was like, and I took a screenshot of it, so I'm going to put it on the review, because it was so hilarious.
But he carefully looked at all of them. He could say, well, they're not cooked. And he put them back in, and he really did not have that much time. So it kind of surprised me a little bit that they were overcooked.
Yeah.
And when they came out, they were a little bit dry, and all the judges said that. So that's a shame. But I knew it was to me. Forget about the halibut. Making cake is a risk.
And
I think know it from personal experience.
I think what's interesting is like, what could he have done to make it good? Like, how many minutes? Like, what would Gordon have done? What would Aaron have done? That's what I wanted to know.
Maybe like ground it up or something, or put little pieces like in a trifle.
Well, I thought maybe it would finish cooking just sitting out.
It would have to be in the pans to do that.
Well,
And
what
I
if
don't know,
what if
because
he had done that? Like he
I don't
he
know.
didn't do that. So
it's really hard to say
Coulda
because
tried.
cake is tricky, and these
Yeah.
were little cakes. That's the thing. The time for cooking cake, rests on the pan that they're presented in, and so these were little, but they weren't cupcakes. They were bigger than cupcakes, and they weren't like in fact, they were almost as big as a pot pie, a little bit smaller, but they weren't like 9-inch or 8-inch like a cake can be, and they were circular too. These were not square shaped cakes. So that was bad, and they made their decision, and it was very close. In fact, they said, because they'd all made some kind of mistake, except I don't think Remy really made any mistakes. I think her meal was too basic. And then when she made the, like Marco said, when she made the appetizer, that was more like a meal.
Yeah.
Like an entree.
I also felt like, okay, so which dessert would you eat? Because I thought easily Bryson's peanut butter chocolate dessert.
Yeah.
Yum, 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 yum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was small too. It was kind of like the size of those cakes, maybe a little bit smaller, but not as small as a peanut butter cup. So I mean, it was a dessert. He did a really good job. In fact, I think they were a little bit shocked because it was kind of like, instead of this like barbecue mentality where you go to competition and you'll make that banana dish, with the cookies and this pudding, can't think what that's called, or like a chocolate, just a chocolate cake or an apple pie or something. This was kind of like an elevated dessert. So I mean, he had been, and when putting the gold leaf on, they were really impressed by that, which is kind of hilarious because I don't like it. I don't see the worth of it. But he was trying to please them.
Yeah, we tasted it on Safi. Safi got a birthday cake, and she just let the decorators have fun and do whatever they wanted. They put gold leaf on top, and it tasted like the dentist office. How the dentist office smells. Like, it just did not taste very good at all.
Yeah,
like
I don't know what the deal with that is. But I've seen, even the cake boss has used gold leaf, I believe, and I just don't think it's worth it, frankly. But they were impressed with him kind of growing and developing and changing and going above his usual level. I think and I agreed with them. So, guess who won the competition?
Well, let's start off and say, I would say that Remy's meal sucked in terms of it didn't really have any cohesion. She said that the theme was that she was honoring her female ancestors, which is also kind of queer. Yeah. It's like, why not just your ancestors in general?
Just say ancestors, yeah. Or just say her grandma, because it seems like that's who she really was leaning towards.
But number two, looking at her dishes, it didn't really have that Masterchef touch of these dishes feel like they're meant to be a Masterchef finale meal. It felt like something that could have been more fit for like a team challenge or something where they have to make 3 dishes. Like, it didn't feel like she made a cohesive meal at all. And then Michael's meal, as I said, he took too much risk in the dessert, and he played it safe with the entree. And then Bryson...
He was just consistent.
Bryson was consistent and stuck with what he knew, while at the same time elevating and being fancy.
Yeah, which is very... When you go to a barbecue competition, there's no fanciness about the barbecue competition. It's very laid back and
I thought it was funny because Bryson, the whole finale, talked like he was crying. Like, he was always like, I made a mistake, and my name was Bryson, I'm going up to present my dishes. Please don't reject me.
Plus, he did say, and he admitted it. I mean, we've seen it on other contestants, but they haven't really gone on about it. They just haven't said anything about it at all. He said he was nervous and like insecure, like that he didn't say he was insecure, but he did not. He felt like he just wasn't doing things good enough.
Well, what was the steak thing he said? The thing about the steak, like...
Well, he didn't cut it open, and I don't know why he didn't.
I don't know. Well, there was one line he said that was, like, particularly hilarious, and I wanted to repeat it. And in his voice, he was very worried. That's what he sounded like, Safi.
But he never...
And then he won.
He never messed up with the meat. Ever. Not the whole season. And he even did a vegetable, remember that, in the beginning, that was special and had layers or something. Didn't mess that up either. And so he's used to competing. He may have acted nervous, and one time it was near the end. Remember, he had that presentation, but they all kind of made bad mistakes. But he still cooked well, and that was pretty messed up.
You like peanut butter chocolate?
But I just thought he did. He really came through, and I thought, that's really good.
Remy was too confident in her mediocrity, to put it bluntly, and then Michael just didn't. He just didn't get it. He just didn't. I don't know. It didn't work out for him, unfortunately.
And I can see him. He's going to be a chef.
I could see him coming back in the adult Masterchef and winning more than Dara. I also thought it was funny because, last Masterchef adult, that big fat white guy won who's like obsessed with beer. And in this Masterchef Junior season, you have a heavier white kid win. And it's almost like it's so weird that it worked out that way. But I would say that Bryson was a lot better than the guy who won the adult Masterchef.
Oh, yeah. You would have felt, yeah.
Like, the adult Masterchef guy, he was basically focused on selling beer and alcohol.
He is an alcohol salesman. He said that.
Like, he probably put beer in the baby bottles that he fed his children. Like, there's nothing wrong with putting a little beer in their formula. Our son wants his mother's breast milk. Well, let's take his mother's breast milk and really elevate it by making a breast milk beer ice cream.
Gross. Okay, so anyway,
Right, Safi?
let's just continue because we have to have our dinner.
We have to have our dinner.
Okay, so guess who won? Bryson won. And although Remy and Michael were disappointed, I think Michael knew the writing on the wall because his dessert had gotten messed up.
Safi, swallow.
And then
yeah, there you go.
Remy, I'm not really sure what she thought.
I don't know either.
She was very gracious.
I think I turned it off, because I just hate that thing at the end where they play the credits over the ending and they rush it to an end so that, you can't really process it because it's going by so fast. So I think I turned it off. But I give the episode an A-. I think this is definitely in the top Masterchef Junior finales of all time. My favorite I don't know actually what my favorite.
I think those kids need to go in and help the adults.
Yeah,
because they're just fearless.
They're so much better than the adults,
and they just have better sense about things, and they're fearless, and they. I don't know. I just think that they're so much better than the adults. At least lately, the last few seasons, the adults haven't been to me they've been iffy and
lackluster.
Lackluster.
Except for the ones they send home. You know, like the guy from Ohio, who totally deserved to win that season last season. And then that girl from that northern state, you know, the one who wanted to commit suicide the whole season.
Oh, yeah.
What state was she from again?
I don't know. Well, she might have been from New York, maybe. Or,
No.
no. Minnesota.
No.
No. Wisconsin.
No, it was northeast, like Massachusetts.
No. I don't know. Delaware, Connecticut.
Rhode Island.
Maybe.
I can't remember, but like those two were really good. They both got sent home for bullshit reasons. And then
you really get tired of that.
Yeah.
And I think this time, though, everything worked out.
Yeah.
The people who needed to go home.
You know what else worked out?
Went home.
Our dinner.
Okay. Well, we have to have our dinner now. So
yeah.
if you like this review, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. And Marco's going to begin work on his movie again, starting on Sunday, over Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
Although Sunday I have a ton of cooking to do.
There's going to be a lot of that this year now.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And I have to go to estate sales tomorrow. I have shipping tomorrow. So anyway, we have a busy time. We will be finishing. We will be trying to, I don't know how we're going to do that.
What?
Fallout game.
What? Oh.
I guess tomorrow we'll be able to do one.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
So anyway, goodbye everybody.
Bye.